It's been said that everyone gets 15 minutes of greatness. My mistake was spending my 15 minutes of greatness helping other people get famous. I was a theatrical press agent in Hollywood, California. And that's where I hung out and I met all these famous people. So one day my boss sends me to meet a new client, Peter Fonda. And Peter explains when I meet him at this Beverly Hills address that he wants me to nail him up in a box. And the idea is this friend of his who plays a private detective on TV is so crazy that he thinks he's a great detective in real life. And he told Peter that, and Peter says, no, you're crazy. I could sneak into your house, and you'd never know it. And they bet on it. You know, they bet that the guy isn't a great detective. So we do it. We nail him up in the box, and we put on delivery man suits, and we deliver him, and we put him in the living room. And that night, when the guy comes back from work, from the movie set, Peter jumps out of the box, and he says, hey, I win the bet. I did it. I put one over on you. You know, I snuck in. So I read in a book a story about Henry Miller and Salvador Dali, and this rich society lady invited them both to be her house guests, and her season was made, you know. She had these two great literary and artistic house guests. So she's all got it straight in her mind, like Henry Miller's the writer and Salvador Dali's the painter. And she goes away for a day, and she comes back, and Dali is writing his autobiography, and Henry is making one after another watercolor paintings. So she can't, you know what I mean? It blew her away that she lost the ability to talk about her famous guests. So I know Henry Miller. See, here's a letter from him. I know Henry Miller. So I said to him, I told him the story, and he says to me, he says, what's the title of the book? He can't remember the incident. So it just goes to show you that you can't believe everything you read. So you can see the letter better on this white card. So I'm at this party, and the guy next to me says, you know, I could put this whole house in my living room. So I said, what kind of house do you live in? He said, the Douglas Fairbanks Mansion. You know, we'd been talking. And he invited me to a party that Gloria Swanson and these other people were going to be at after the party. So we leave this little house that he could put in his living room of the Douglas Fairbanks Mansion. And all of us get into these 5 Rolls Royces. They're all the same, white Rolls Royces. And they're all chauffeur driven, and we all drive off to go to the other party. And Gloria Swanson's in one car, and the Italian ambassador's in one car, a diplomat. And we're in one car, my girlfriend, me and Wally, and a chauffeur. And everybody arrives, and they lose the Italian ambassador. Only 4 Rolls Royces pull in. So they say, oh, what should we do? And they send out, while we all go to the party, 4 chauffeurs in Rolls Royces to find the 5th chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce. So that's where I met Gloria Swanson at this party, and she was great. She looked great, you know. She was like that Sunset Boulevard, Gloria Swanson. So I got to know Pernell Roberts. He was the star of Bonanza. He played Adam on Bonanza, and he starred in Trapper John M.D. on TV. So he gave a party at his house every Friday night. And as a joke, here's the joke, he was saying that people in Hollywood are so self-involved, so conceited, so self-involved, that they wouldn't even notice if somebody was naked at a party because they're only interested in their glory. So he did that. He and this girl came out naked, and they sat by the couch, and I woke up like a half hour later that there were naked people. But I'm just saying that's what he did. He appeared naked at one of his own parties just to show where people in Hollywood are at. That was funny. So as far as I know, they never found the Italian ambassador. So believe me, there are a lot of people who've used up their 15 minutes of greatness in Hollywood, California. When I was on unemployment, I used to see Harpo Marx online, Luther Adler, Peter Coyote, Salome Jens. I once saw my producer. I knew I was out of work that week. And you see him around, like in Beverly Hills. I used to see Jack Benny walking around with that woman who loved him, Mary, what's her name? And I saw Tony Curtis. You know, he lived there. And I saw Lenny Bruce once coming out of the Beverly Hills jail. You know, he had a broken leg on and he waved hello to me, you know. So you can just see those kind of people all over the town. They live there. I met Steven Spielberg when he was about 21. They wheeled him through my office. And that was his first moment of greatness. He's still enjoying his 15 minutes of greatness. Henry Fonda and Fred Gwynne and Doug McClure and Sebastian Cabot from Checkmate. And I know Hoyt Axton, and I know Jeremiah the Bullfrog. He was a friend of mine. So, you know, there's places like in China where they never even heard of Mickey Rourke. You know, millions of people, famous or relative, millions of people never even heard of